Hi everyone, welcome to another video of Sunday Morning Drives. Today I have a very incredible vehicle with me. This is the Porsche Cayenne Turbo e-hybrid. This is the facelift version of the Cayenne, and this just got released end of last year, so it's a very new model. This is obviously a hybrid car that has a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that's sitting in the front and an electric motor that's paired up with the gearbox. The combined horsepower this produces is around 729 horsepower, and the combined torque is around 950 Newton meters. So it's a lot of power even for a large SUV like this. It has a claimed 0 to 100 time of around 3.7 seconds and a quarter mile time around 11.7 seconds. So it's a really quick car. So today I will do a full review of this car and show you the inside, the outside. I will also do a driving impression and show you how this car drives, whether it's still got that sporty DNA from Porsche underneath this SUV skin. Let's look at the outside of this car. So this is a facelift version of the Cayenne Turbo. So you can see the front fascia is actually a little bit different from the previous pre-facelift version. There are very large openings everywhere in the front. You can see all these openings that allows air to get into the engine bay and also into the intercooler and radiator to cool the car. There is a adaptive cruise control sensor in the front, a camera. These fans are also active. You can see inside there are flaps that open and close according to the car's computer, just to provide better cooling or for better aerodynamics. This particular vehicle is equipped with the Matrix LED headlights. These headlights are pretty amazing at night. They are very bright, and they can shoot out to about 300 meters ahead of you, so you can see very clearly at night. The side profile of the Cayenne hasn't changed that much from the pre-facelift. There is keyless entry on the door handle for the front door and also the rear door. The doors also come standard with soft close. This car is a plug-in hybrid, so there is a charging port on the left-hand side of the vehicle. So you can see there's charge indicators, and there is a charging cable that comes with the car. This particular Cayenne Turbo comes with 22-inch rims with P0 tires. The front tire size is 285/40s. These brakes are huge. They are probably one of the biggest brakes I've ever seen. At the rear, it also comes with 22-inch rims with 315/35 section tires. These are very big tires. Looking at the rear of the car, there are only very subtle changes. And also I really like this light bar that is similar to a 911 now. It's really nice. The Cayenne Turbo also comes with an active spoiler that's on the top. So you can have the spoiler open up to give it more downforce or close to give it more streamline. It has quad exhaust, so 2 tailpipes on either side of the car. They are in a round shape. They are pretty big. Very nice looking too. It has a 2-layer design. Let's quickly look at the engine bay. So this comes with a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. The combined horsepower with the electric motor produces 729 horsepower and 950 Newton meters of torque. it's a big lump of metal right in the front. That's why Porsche put the batteries at the back to balance out the weight of this car. Let's look at the boot space. It has an electric gate opening. So the boot space is actually not that bad. It's a little bit smaller than what I expected, but it's okay for a decent amount of luggage. We have a cover here that you can pull to close, and it's retractable as well. And underneath here, this is where the battery is. You can see the battery right there. So that's why the Cayenne Hybrid has a little bit of a higher lip at the back, just a tiny bit higher. It's not that noticeable. And we have up and down for the air suspension. You can raise the car and you can lower the car as well. So it's easier for putting in your luggage. Unfortunately, at the back, there's no way to operate and fold down your rear seats. You have to do that from the rear passenger area. Moving inside the Cayenne Turbo E Hybrid, the quality of the interior is pretty good. Very, very amazing. Typical Porsche quality. Everything feels really solid, very premium. We have leather everywhere on the dash, an aluminium trim on the bottom down here, and we have leather basically everywhere on the door card and on the seats as well. So it's a very high quality cabin, and the Cayenne Turbo comes standard with a race tex or Alcantara roof that feels really nice to touch. The steering wheel is the 911 steering wheel, which is really, really good to hold. Feels very nice in your hands, just the right size. And it comes with multifunctional buttons on the left and on the right. On the right hand side, this controls your driver cockpit. You can scroll up and down to gain different information. This is phone pickup, this is to go back. On the left hand side is for your volume and your mute. If you press this down, it mutes the music forward, and a customizable button right here, and your voice control. So all the gauge cluster and the infotainment systems in the Cayenne Turbo now are digitalized. So we have a 12.6 inch cockpit screen right in front of the driver, and we have a 12.3 infotainment screen in the center as well. There are a few different screen themes or screen setups you can scroll through. This is very Audi-like, and we have a full navigation setting. This is the minimalistic setting. And we also have a very classic 5-ring setting for the digital display. Around the center console area, we have the drive select lever. Now it's on here instead of over here. That's a new setup from Porsche. Some people like it, some people don't. We have the Sport Chrono clock in the center. We have a wireless phone charging port, USB ports here for your phone charging, and we have physical buttons for the climate control, which is really good. This car comes with heated and cooled seats. This is a godsend in summer times. Really helpful. Makes your back less sweaty. A little cubby hole down here for your keys or your smaller items. 2 cup holders and a 12-volt charger, and a very large armrest Under here, there is a storage area. And this armrest, you can slide it forward to enclose these two cup holders and slide them back as well. Quite interesting design. And very typical of the Cayenne, there are two grab handles on here. So it's good for off-roading. You can hold on to something when the car is really jarring. There is a large glove compartment down here. You can also spec a screen for the passenger as well. This car has not chosen that option, but that is an option that you can choose for the Cayennes. These 18-way comfort seats are really nice. They are bolstered all in leather. The bolstering is actually quite adequate. In terms of its comfort, it's not too soft and not too firm. Just right. I think this is a very nice design and great seats to be sitting in. They are very large pocket bins, and this car is equipped with the Bose sound system. The visibility of the Cayenne Turbo is really great. The way they designed the angle of the glass and the amount of glass used is very good. You can see out very clearly. And I really like the A-pillar where they have a glass piece here. So you can see out much more, especially around your front wheels. You can see what's going on, so that's really good. Moving into the back seats. So we have plenty of knee room. I'm 175 centimeters tall. I have plenty of headroom as well. And I really love this moon roof, this glass roof. It brings in a lot of light from the outside, makes the space feels much more airier, much larger. We have leather seats for the back passenger as well. We have ISOFIXes on both chairs. We have a armrest down here with cup holders. And you can fold all these seats down to give you much more load space. There is also a screen at the back in the center to control your climate control, your heated seats, and also your charging ports down here. There is a lever for the back seats as well. You can pull this lever and move the back seats forward and back. A few things at the rear I wish Porsche could have done a little bit better. One is these carpets are not fixed in place, so they move around pretty easily. Second thing is, at this price range, they don't even offer a electrically adjusted or operated rear seats. You need to use this lever here to fold the seats down and also adjust your backrest angle. The third thing is, at the rear, there's no blind for the rear passenger. So I guess this might be an option. But this car doesn't come standard with the rear blinds. And also you are unable to adjust or control the shade of the moonroof from the rear. If they want to actually operate the moonroof, it has to be done through the front passengers. There are a few modes, drive modes, that you can select from this button right here. So you turn the dial and you can select which mode you want to be in. Sport, hybrid, e-power, off-road. And in each of these modes, you can also calibrate them. So for example, if I go to sport mode, you can go inside this menu here and change and customize your sport mode setting. For example, if we want the chassis to be Sport Plus, I can do that, or normal, sport. I can also change the level. So right now it's in the second lowest setting. I can turn the sport exhaust on and off, and also spoiler up or down. This button in the center here is a super boost button. If you press this down, it gives you 20 seconds of the most aggressive power, everything to full attack. So it's a very good tool to use if you want to overtake on the highway just for a short period of time. Once the 20-second passes, it will go back to whichever mode you were in before. So in the off-road mode, there are a few settings you can play with. So in the off-road mode, it will show the different angles, the yaw angles, the pitch angles, and also there is a terrain button here, which you can change the different terrains that you're on. The Cayenne Turbo actually has a very good amount of off-roading power. And also you can customize your height as well. So there is off-road 1 and off-road 2. So going on gravel roads, it feels really stable. The off-road function is actually really good. It feels like the car is very confident in going on these type of roads. And also, when you go into off-road mode, the air suspension will rise up to give it more ride height. So in the car settings display, you can customize the head-up display. The head-up display in the Cayenne Turbo is very good. It's quite clear and is very customizable. If you go to configure, there is a lot of things you can drag and drop into these areas, and it will show up in your head-up display. There is also wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. The ride quality of the Cayenne Turbo is very incredible, I have to say. This is a high-performance SUV, but in terms of its comfort, its feeling of premiumness, the quality, the insulation, everything is top-notch. I have to say the comfort level of this air suspension is very good. You feel very comfortable in this car no matter the terrain. It irons out all the imperfections on the road for you. So it's almost like you are riding a magic carpet. Going on any bumps like this, a speed bump, it soaks it up so well. Once you are in sport mode or sport plus mode, there are two other settings. You can firm up the suspension, and by that time it can get a bit firmer and gives you much more support through the corners. But again, it still doesn't feel jarring at all. So this is a very nice suspension. You can also adjust the height of these air suspensions. There's a few levels of height difference. I think there's 5 different levels. So in normal mode, which is the hybrid mode, it sits in the middle. And in sport mode, it lowers the car a little bit. And in sports plus mode, it will lower the car to the lowest setting. And you can also raise the car in off-road mode. There's 2 different settings, 2 different heights you can set the car up to. So there's a lot of adjustment to this air suspension. Every time when you start up the car, the default mode will be in e-power. So it utilizes as much electric power as it can. So once you start this car up, there's no exhaust sound, there's no engine startup sound. It's very quiet. You can turn this into hybrid mode if you want to. In hybrid mode, the computer calculates, depending on all sorts of parameters like the temperature, the speed, your throttle input, to determine whether it needs to start up the engine. The priority in hybrid mode is still for saving your fuel consumption. So most of the time when you are just driving casually, it will still be in EV mode. Only if you really press down the gas pedal, the engine will light up. And in terms of power transition between the electric motor and the petrol-powered V8, the transition is actually very smooth and very seamless. You don't really notice any jarring or any discomfort at all. It's a very smooth transition. In e-power mode, the car will try to use as much EV power or electric motor power as possible. The dash cluster is also quite interesting. In EV mode, the rev counter doesn't work because the engine is not fired up, but there is a gauge that shows you how much throttle you are putting in, so how much EV power it's outputting. And when you are braking, on the left hand side there is a green dial that shows you how much regenerative power it's generating. You can also very clearly see how much range you have underneath the speedometer. It's unbelievable how quiet it is inside this cabin. If the engine doesn't fire up and you are in pure EV mode, you basically hear nothing. The insulation of sound is so good in this vehicle. You feel you are pretty cocooned, pretty insulated from the outside. There's not much noise coming from the outside. Road noise, tire noise, noise from the other cars. Just a very, very quiet cabin inside here. This car produces 729 horsepower and 950 Newton meters of torque. So it has a lot of power. Even in hybrid mode, when the engines start up, you can feel there's so much power reserve for this car. In normal road driving situations, you don't even have to put your foot down, maybe 1/3 of the throttle travel, and there's already so much push or so much power that's delivered. It's amazing how much power reserve this car has. So every time when I get in, when I start driving, you feel so much at ease. This car just feels effortless in terms of its driving dynamics. The steering is actually quite a quick rack. So any small increments of direction change or input from your hands will translate to a direction change on the road. It's a quite nice feeling, almost like a sports car feel. And I have to say there's a fair amount of feedback from the steering wheel as well. Once you go into sport mode, the engine fires up straight away and you can hear much more sound from the exhaust because the sport exhaust is now open. It has this pops and bangs and overrun sound when you lift up the throttle. So again, it's a very exciting feeling for a SUV like this. And the throttle response immediately becomes really sharp. The power delivery is so linear, you don't feel much power lag or transition lag between the electric motor and the ICE engine. And also there's no turbo lag at all. You just feel the surge of power, this reserve of power that is always there pushing the car along. Oh, it's very, very amazing how much power this car has. Once you go into Sport Plus mode, everything is dialed up to 100%. The power delivery, it's so aggressive. And the throttle response is amazing. Porsche really knows how to emphasize this sports car essence or feel. Even in this large SUV, you can feel the heritage, the sportiness inside this car. The steering, as I said, is great. And also, together with the rear wheel steer, makes the car feel really nimble. Going into corners, give it a throttle, it feels so sports car-like. And the braking is immense. There's so much grabbing power. I have to commend the handling though. For such a big SUV, this does handle almost like a sports car. I say almost because it still has this large size you have to overcome, and the weight as well. You can still definitely feel the weight of this car in terms of going into corner, the way it sways out and the way it's trying to control the body roll through the air suspension. You can still feel that. But overall, I have to say they have done a very good job in terms of shrinking the car, making this car feel much smaller, much more nimbler than its actual size and weight. So that's something to commend Porsche. with. It's amazing how they did that. The way they tuned these suspensions are really well done. Again, feels really nimble into the corners, and the way it rotates the body is a bit more rear wheel drive feel than a typical four-wheel drive car. So that again is a great trait of a sports car DNA. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review of the Cayenne Turbo e-hybrid. Thank you to Giltrade Porsche Auckland for letting me review and test drive this car. Overall, I think as a conclusion, I think this is a very amazing vehicle. It's a vehicle that does everything. It does the practicality, it has the performance. It's almost like a sports car in terms of its driving dynamics, and it's also very fuel efficient because of the hybrid setup. So it's an all-round car that does everything and does everything really well. But it does have a very hefty price tag though. So this car comes at 300,000 New Zealand dollars as a base price. If you spec everything up, the price might go as high as 350,000 New Zealand dollars. That's actually quite expensive for one car. So if you have only space for one car, then this is something that you should definitely look into, because this is a car that has so much to offer. For me, I might go for the multi-car option with this price, because I would get a purer experience. As good as this car is, it's still not a sports car. It's still a bit too large, too heavy to feel like a sports car. So if you could get something like a Carrera S, that would be a much purer experience, and then I could also get a cheaper daily to do my daily business. So let me know in the comment section below, which kind of route would you go with this price range? There are more reviews like this coming, so please subscribe and hit that like button and notification button if you could, and hope to see you in our next video.